All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about two tools that are probably in every web pen tester's starting lineup, Nikto and Gobuster. But, this isn't going to be just another tutorial. This is all about how to take these beginner-friendly tools and turn them into professional assets, based on the sometimes painful but very real lessons from someone's very first paid pen test.
I think this quote just nails it, right? You can be a rock star in your home lab, you can know all the commands, but the second you realize there's a real company with real employees and real customers on the other side of that terminal, everything changes. The pressure is immense, and the stakes become incredibly real.
So what exactly happened? Well, on day one of the engagement, the author fired up a totally standard, default Nikto scan. Set it and forget it. He walked away for a minute, and when he came back, there was a panicked message from the client's ops team. Their monitoring dashboards were lit up like a Christmas tree. And that's the point, isn't it? You can accidentally bring a system to its knees without even finding a single vulnerability.
And this really gets to the heart of that whole first test experience. While our pen tester was worried about pulling off some complex movie-style hack, it was the basic, everyday tools, Nikto for checking server configs and Gobuster for finding hidden pages, that gave him the best leads. But they were also the tools that carried the biggest risk of making a huge mess.
So the first huge lesson learned somewhere between a cold cup of coffee and writing apology emails was this. Being a pro isn't about knowing the coolest flags. It's about respecting the client's environment. It's about thinking through when you run your scans, not just which scans you run. It's about using these automated tools to guide your own human brain, not just letting them run wild.
And that brings me to a really, really important point, because before you even dream of opening a terminal, the real work has already begun. It starts with the least glamorous but most critical part of the job, the paperwork. Seriously, that contract, that's your playbook. This is the single most important question you will ever ask yourself on an engagement. Because when, not if, something goes a little sideways, the first question anyone is going to ask isn't about your technique. It's going to be, were you even supposed to be doing that? Having clear written authorization isn't a formality, it's your entire professional and legal shield.
So here's a super practical checklist for you. Before you run a single command, ask yourself these 4 things. 1. Do I have written permission for the exact target? 2. Does the contract specifically say web application testing? 3. Do I know the exact start and end times, including business hours? And 4. Do I know who to call in an emergency? If the answer to any of these is no, or even maybe, stop. You are not cleared to start. Period.
And if you're wondering why all this paperwork and process is so important, well, here's the financial reality. We're talking about a serious professional service that clients are paying hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars a day for. When you see these kinds of numbers, it becomes crystal clear why the expectations for safety, communication, and professionalism are justifiably sky high.
Okay, paperwork is signed, scope is clear. Let's get back to the fun stuff, the tools. But let's not just talk about which flags to use. Let's talk about their personalities. Yeah, you heard me. Understanding the personality of your tool helps you make much smarter choices when you're under pressure.
I absolutely love this analogy. Think of Nikto as your blunt friend, the one who just blurts out everything that could possibly be wrong all at once. It's great for a quick initial health check. Gobuster, on the other hand, is the curious one. It's going to methodically go down the hall and jiggle every single doorknob just to see if it's unlocked. You start with Nikto for the big picture, but you bring in Gobuster when you have a hunch that there's something specific hiding, like an old backup folder or a forgotten admin login page.
So you've probably seen a command just like this a million times. It's Gobuster 101. You point it at a website, give it a word list, and you just let it go. And that's fine for a lab, but in a professional engagement, just letting it go is exactly how you find yourself in hot water.
And that's the key lesson here. Being a pro isn't about being the fastest, it's about being the smartest. Instead of a massive word list, use a smaller, more targeted one. Turn the thread count down, not up, especially on a live system. The goal here is careful discovery, not an accidental denial of service attack. And I have to say, my favorite line from the source material is this: more threads is not a personality trait.
All right, so you've run your scans carefully, you've respected the scope, you haven't crashed anything, and now you're staring at a giant wall of text output. This, right here, is often the hardest part of the entire job, finding the actual, valuable signal inside all of that noise. And this question, this is what separates a tool operator from a professional security consultant. A scanner can spit out hundreds of findings, but your job, your value, is to figure out which of those actually matter to the business. Which ones represent a real, tangible risk that someone needs to spend time and money fixing.
So how do you do that? How do you filter it? This slide gives you a fantastic practical checklist called the 4 Yes filter. Before you even think about putting something in the report, ask yourself these questions. 1. Can someone else reproduce this easily? 2. Does it actually impact confidentiality, integrity, or availability? 3. Would a manager who is not a security expert actually care about this? And 4. Will fixing it make a real, measurable difference? If you can't get a confident yes on these, it's probably just noise.
Now, once you have your important findings, the report itself needs a clear structure. Just think of it in these 3 simple layers. First, a 1-page summary for the executives. This tells the story of business impact. Second, a detailed breakdown for the developers and engineers, the what, the why, and how to fix it. And finally, an appendix with all your raw data, your commands, your screenshots, your proof. This way, everyone gets exactly what they need and nothing they don't.
All right, let's pull all these threads together. We've gone from the pure panic of a first engagement to the nitty-gritty of tool tuning and report writing. Now let's see what the complete professional workflow actually looks like when you put it all together.
This slide puts it all into perspective. Just look at this. Where are Nikto and Gobuster? They're steps 3 and 4. They're important for sure, but they're just 2 small parts of a much bigger, much more deliberate process. The most critical work happens before any scan is ever run, in the paperwork, and after the scans are done, in the manual validation and reporting. The tools don't define the job, the process does.
And this really is the ultimate lesson of the whole story. Your technical skills, your ability to run the tools, that's just what gets you in the door. A long, successful career is built on understanding people. It's about understanding the client's fears, the developer's pressures, and what a manager needs to hear to make a good decision.
So as we wrap this up, I want you to remember this one thing. The goal of your first pen test, or any pen test for that matter, isn't just to find that one awesome critical vulnerability. The real win is the shift that happens inside your own head. It's the moment you stop thinking like a hobbyist who just runs tools and you start thinking like a professional who provides a valuable service. That mindset, that's what builds a career.